Legend has it that there exists a kind of demon that escapes from the dark world. Wandering recklessly in the human realm, they are extremely skilled at manipulating people's hearts, leading innocent souls step by step into the abyss of death, and the only one capable of driving these demons back into the darkness is a beautiful and mysterious vampire girl named Miyu. It is said that girls who love cats are gentle and beautiful, but there was one woman who loved cats, yet was filled with darkness and evil. One day, a young man named Akira came to the streets to post missing cat notices. His cat, Coling, had accidentally gone missing, and he was heartbroken with worry. Suddenly, a familiar, crisp bell sound echoed in the air. It was the bell on Coling's collar. Akira followed the sound and arrived at an old, slightly decaying mansion. In the courtyard, he met a woman. She wore a gorgeous long dress, holding a bouquet of pure white roses in her arms, as if she had stepped out of a painting. Akira was instantly captivated. He asked the woman if she had seen his cat. He explained that the bell sound was extremely similar to the one on his cat. However, the woman said she had never seen a cat here. Akira looked around. There was only a field of roses in the courtyard, and indeed no sign of a cat. Akira hurried to apologize for his intrusion. He was also saddened to tears because he still could not find his cat. The woman gently wiped his tears and softly comforted him not to despair. Then she mentioned that she too loved cats very much. Hearing this warmed Akira's heart. At that moment, one of the roses in the woman's arms fell to the ground. Strangely, a rose in the garden quietly bloomed, and at the center of its petals, a cat's eye appeared. A few days later in class, the teacher noticed that Senri was distracted, as if something was hidden under her desk. It turned out, Senri had found a small kitten on her way to school. Feeling sorry for the little cat, she secretly brought it to school. Senri's parents didn't allow her to keep pets, so she hoped she could find someone at school to adopt it. However, she asked all of her classmates, and no one was willing to take the kitten. Miyu advised Senri to simply return the cat to where she found it, but Senri felt that would be too cruel. She couldn't bear to let such a tiny cat wander alone. Then she thought of an idea. She told Senri that someone near her home loved cats very, very much. Hearing this, Senri felt it was worth asking that person if they would adopt the kitten. Ever since Akira met that beautiful woman, he had been absent-minded every day. He no longer went out to search for his lost cat. Instead, his mind was filled only with the image of that woman. Just then, his thoughts were interrupted by a knock on the door. When he opened it, it was Senri and her classmates. Akira liked the little cat, but he still could not forget his own missing cat, so he could not bring himself to adopt a new one. Senri felt disappointed and was about to leave, when Akira suddenly remembered the woman saying she also loved cats. So, Akira suggested taking them to find that woman. But strangely, when Akira followed the memory of that day back to that street, he could not find the mansion anywhere. No matter how many times he circled around, he couldn't locate it. Eventually, he took Miyu and the others back to the place where he had posted the missing cat notices. Akira could clearly remember the mansion being nearby, but Sonoko, who lived nearby, said she had never heard of any old mansion in the area. As the sky began to darken, Akira suggested that they leave the kitten with him for now. He promised that if they could not find the woman, he would take full responsibility for the kitten himself. After saying goodbye, Akira decided to continue searching for the mansion. On the road, childhood memories suddenly surfaced in his mind. When he was young, he had once seen his stepmother with another man, but his father, blinded by his stepmother's manipulation, refused to believe him. Thinking Akira was lying on purpose, his father locked him inside a small room. During that lonely and painful time, a small cat wearing a little bell entered his life. From then on, Akira adopted that cat and named it Coling. Suddenly, Akira heard that familiar bell sound once again. He turned around, and the old mansion appeared before him as if by miracle. The bell sound was coming from inside the house, as though it were calling to him. Akira knocked on the door, but no one answered, so he pushed the door open and went inside. The interior was pitch black. A strange sense of fear washed over him. Then, in the darkness, dozens of small eyes began to glimmer. A moment later, a large group of cats appeared before him. The kitten in his arms seemed to sense danger. It broke free, jumped to the floor, and let out a frightened growl toward the other cats. Just then, footsteps sounded from the staircase. The woman slowly walked down and went straight to the kitten. She smiled and said she really liked this cat. Then she pointed a rose at the kitten. In the next moment, The rose drew a glowing red light from the kitten's body. Akira quickly demanded to know what she had done. The woman replied that if Akira wanted to know the truth, he should follow her. She led him into the courtyard and released the red glow into an empty patch of soil. Immediately, a new rose burst out of the ground. Akira finally understood just how horrifying this woman truly was. She claimed she loved cats, but in reality, she was using them to grow these flowers. Inside every rose was a trapped cat's soul. The woman explained that these roses only bloom on the night of a full moon. As long as she tended them carefully, they would never wilt and would stay with her forever. She said she did all of this because she was unbearably lonely. She believed that by collecting the souls of cats, she could have more companions. Suddenly, from one of the roses came the familiar sound of a bell. Akira froze in shock. Koling's soul was trapped here as well, but the woman simply said that Koling was very obedient and that she liked it very much. Akira angrily condemned her for her cruelty, but the woman insisted she was only giving the cats eternal life, so they would never wander away again. Akira could not accept that. He believed it was better for a cat to live as a stray than to be trapped here forever. At least then, they could live freely. When the woman saw Akira rejecting her ideals, her gaze grew cold. She no longer pretended to be gentle. In truth, she was a lost demon, and she intended to use Akira to bring her more cats. She restrained Akira with long vine-like tendrils and prepared to turn him into a flower as well. Just then, the sound of a flute echoed through the air. It was Miyu, the watcher of demons, who had found them. Without hesitation, Miyu summoned the divine fire, burning the entire garden in an instant. In the flames, countless cats screamed in agony. The demon was enraged. She had poured her heart into raising these flowers, only to ease the loneliness in her soul. But Miyu condemned her cruelty. The demon, driven mad by fury, attacked Miyu. In the end, with the help of her guardian, Miyu used the divine fire to send the lost demon back into the realm of darkness. As the demon vanished, the cries of the trapped cats slowly faded away. The old mansion also began to disappear. Akira was overwhelmed with guilt. He realized that Koling had been ringing its bell to tell him where it was all along, but he had been deceived by the woman's beauty and had even fallen in love with her. He felt that he was the one who had caused Koling's death. He could not forgive himself. Seeing Akira in such pain, Miyu chose to grant him mercy. She gave him a world without suffering, where he and Koling could stay together forever. From that day on, Akira and his cat were never separated again. In that world without pain, they continued to heal one another and continued to live happily together. Oshima was a university professor. When he was young, he once wrote, directed, and starred in a deeply emotional and beautifully shot film. After being sealed away for decades, the film was finally screened at a university film critique event, which attracted Miyu and her classmates. Senri immediately recognized that the male lead in the film was Oshima himself. In their eyes, the movie was breathtakingly beautiful, filled with emotion, and the interaction between the male and female leads felt like that of a real couple. Oshima revealed the story behind the movie. The female lead, Natsuko, was the campus beauty at the time, and also the person he quietly loved. He originally wanted to use the opportunity of filming to confess his feelings to her. However, his own timid heart made him retreat in the end. Unfortunately, Natsuko later took a leave of absence for personal reasons, and the movie was never completed. After that, Oshima never saw her again. That deeply buried love became an everlasting regret in his heart. After hearing Oshima's love story, Senri and the others were moved deeply. Shia became curious about what might have become of Natsuko. She speculated that Natsuko might still sense the emotions Oshima tried to express in the film, and perhaps she too carried regret. Senri then suggested something bold. She wanted to help Oshima find Natsuko, so the two could meet again, but Miyu disagreed. She believed some memories were better left untouched. Shia, however, felt that Oshima looked extremely lonely. She believed Oshima still loved Natsuko and wanted to help him fulfill the wish expressed in his film. Sonoko offered a compromise. She suggested they first find Natsuko and then let Oshima decide whether or not to meet her. And in truth, just as Shia said, Oshima had never stopped loving Natsuko. He would often look through photo albums that recorded their time together, lost in the sweetness of the past. One day, his wife urged him to clean out the study to make room for their son's family, who would soon return. The burdens and trivialities of life had long worn away his patience with his wife. They argued constantly over small things. His wife had no interest in his memories. She cared only about real life and the future of the family. She resented Oshima's stagnant career, believing he lacked ambition and did not take responsibility for the household. Oshima had long grown used to her complaints. He ignored her and continued drowning in his memories. 1 week later, Oshima returned home and accidentally overheard a conversation between his wife and son. His son complained that Oshima was stubborn, while his wife bluntly called her husband useless, saying she was the one supporting the entire family, and that even the house was purchased by her alone. What shocked Oshima even more was that his wife had thrown away everything in his study. Without asking, he rushed outside, searching through the garbage until he recovered the videotape. At that moment, Miyu appeared behind him. She told him that although clinging to memories was not a sin, the videotape contained a demon, and he needed to be careful. Oshima said he did not understand what she meant, and walked away. Right then, the demon appeared and attacked. Even Miyu's guardian, Larva, could not withstand it. Realizing how dangerous the situation was, Miyu knew she needed another strategy. Meanwhile, Senri and the others, after investigating, finally found Natsuyoko's address in an old graduation directory. But when they followed it, they arrived at Oshima's home. They hurried to ask his wife for confirmation, and Oshima's wife stated that she was Natsuyoko. That was her maiden name. Everyone was stunned. They could not understand why Oshima would hide this. To uncover the truth, they found an old classmate. It turned out, Oshima and Natsuyoko had gotten married right after graduation. Natsuyoko came from a wealthy family, and their marriage had been strongly opposed by her parents. But for love, she chose to elope with Oshima. This was also the reason the film was never completed. Oshima always dreamed of becoming a scholar. To support him, Natsuyoko worked tirelessly, taking on the weight of the household. But as time passed, resentment grew. To the Natsuyoko of today, Oshima was simply an unsuccessful scholar and an unremarkable husband. Their dreams, under the pressure of real life, had slowly withered away. Although Oshima still loved his wife, he deeply regretted marrying her. He felt that, while he gained Natsuyoko in real life, he also dragged her into an unhappy marriage. The person he loved in his heart was always the pure, radiant girl she once was, not the woman now filled with exhaustion and complaints. Oshima had long known that the videotape contained a demon. He had even witnessed the demon imprisoning people inside the film. Now, fear took hold of him. He worried that one day, the demon would harm his wife as well. Exhausted by everything, he cried out to the demon, begging it to take him into the world of the film, so he could return to the memories he could never let go of. The demon granted his wish, opening its jaws and swallowing him whole. To defeat the demon, Miyu followed into the screen. The demon was incredibly powerful. Miyu realized that as long as there was light, the demon would remain, so she summoned the divine fire and burned the sun in the film's world. With the light gone, the demon's power weakened. Soon, Miyu used the divine fire to seal it away, returning it to the realm of darkness. Oshima did not stop loving his wife. He simply could not accept her imperfection, nor face the reality of marriage. He preferred to drown in memory, even wishing to be taken into the film world. In truth, he was running away, running from the reality that the perfect Natsuyoko no longer existed, and running from his responsibility in their marriage.